To give a warm welcome to our guest, Liza Mary Garcia. Liza, welcome.
Hi, hello. Thank you for hosting me today. Good to see you.
L- Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
That's a big question to start with. I'll try not to have a big long answer, but it's a big question to me because I would say at year 1.5 of this book publishing business, we're now starting our 8 some year. I was ready to quit. I was 100% over it. I'd put a lot of money in the company and time and energy, and I was ready to quit. And I had gone through 2 partners, if you can believe it, within that time. And I was kind of left standing, and I knew I could go and get a tech job for a good amount of money and leave being an entrepreneur and founder behind me. But what happened to me was that I heard the voice of God for the first time. And he said to me, if you don't publish their books, who will? First time in my life, I had heard it in my spirit. And I understood that that was my purpose. That was what I was supposed to do. And I have not stopped until he shows me that I should stop.
What is your higher purpose in life?
Right. And I'm sorry, I had to come home to take this call. Hang on. Okay, so that leads to what my higher purpose is to do what God wants me to do. I've been in Tampa now for 10 years. And during that time, my relationship with God is 100% different and better.
That's a powerful purpose. What have been top three greatest challenges that you have had to overcome?
So business wise, it's definitely challenging. I'm a 24-year now employer for my tech company in Seattle, Washington, to now the book publishing team and promotion in Tampa Bay. And so there's been many challenges, and I anticipate there'll always be challenges. That's the road of an entrepreneur, right? So, greatest challenges have been related to people, to be honest. You bring people on your team and you have high hopes for them. Hopefully do your due diligence, and it does not work out sometimes. It seems like, I could probably say my top 3 challenges always surrounded by people, in terms of experts that you decide to, engage. And so then you base your business strategy on the expert advice, and they turn out to be not such great advice. Right. So at the end of the day, how did you decide to go that direction? Well, again, it was based on a person that you believed in. And that I would say probably the third challenge has to do with finances, in terms of even if you have, I don't know many people that have unlimited resources, but let's even say that you have enough resources for your company. You still have to have the right discernment and the right, advisory to know where to put what budget right into the proper area for your company. So, money, seems like some people think it's a solver of all. It isn't. It is a tool and a resource. But I would say the challenges are related to those factors.
What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
Yeah. I've been thinking about that as far as what's the greatest failure story. And, it seems like the one that bubbles to the top does depend on what, we're having to go through at the time of our business. Business is sort of like a business. Well, it's been said, it's a living, or, it's a living, changing organism. So it's always changing, and hopefully you're, smart enough to change with it. But I think that if I look back and say what my greatest failure or regret is for this company, is that I didn't start off at the beginning with all things new. For instance, for the new way of marketing. I should have started off 8.5 years ago, understanding the power, or if I didn't understand it, getting on the road for digital marketing. What I did was I fell back to what I knew in my tech company when digital marketing didn't even exist when I started that company, right? So I would have been much further, much faster, much more efficient had I embraced digital marketing 8.5 years ago. So that is definitely something that I consider a failure for my company. And how I've recovered is to embrace it wholeheartedly within the last 4 years, and trying to get better and better. And now embracing AI for now the last couple years, and wishing I'd started AI in 2020. But still, you just try to stay with how you need to grow and improve and change.
What is the most impactful book you have read? What did you learn from it?
So I love when I've asked these questions, I'll be asked, what are your 3 favorite books? Well, of course, I'm a book publisher, so I'm going to list our books. We've published about 60 some titles at this point. And I do have to say, actually right now, we just released a book called The Art and Science of Hyperbaric Medicine. That book is becoming one of our best sellers. So that's a fantastic, impactful book that the globe is learning about. But for myself personally, of course, it's the Bible. And when we say, well, what book in the Bible? Well, I heard something years ago, and someone said, what if you get to the end of your life and God says to you, I wrote that book for you. I gave you this life book of instructions. Did you read it? And I remember thinking way back, I need to read the Bible. And now I've read it a few times, probably over. So in the book of Proverbs is so wise. There's so much business fundamentals and life fundamentals in the book of Proverbs. So that's the most impactful book. But then also to give a plug to one of my favorite books amongst the books that we published was a book we published that's called Are You Who You Want to Be? And it was about identity, and it was like an identity map. And I just loved that book. I want to think it's maybe 2 years old, still selling like gangbusters, but very impactful book by Damien Gerke. Gerke is his last name.
What are your goals for the next 12 months?
Right. So my goals professionally are that we are looking at a new area to be in. So that will definitely happen within 2025. My quarterly goals, and have even become a weekly part of marketing, is to plug into different areas, meaning, join some new chambers of commerce, which we have, join some new groups. We just joined the Propeller Club. We love it. So, our goals are always to be, again, agile is the key there, but to try new things. And so that's in the next 12 months. We're at a good staffing level. We've already made what is how many titles we will take on in 2025. And we won't take on any more unless we increase our team. And I really don't have any inclination for 2025 to increase our team. We have a good, solid team, as I said. So, and then just, I would say, bring in AI more and more in different areas, in all areas, absolutely, there's so much changing and enhancing our world and professionalism with our professional part of our life with AI.
What advice you will give to yourself?
Yeah, the biggest advice I can give to my younger self is the same advice I give myself daily, weekly, which is have more patience. And then the sub part of that, right? The sub bullet is have more patience, not only with myself. I was just thinking about something that could have been done better this morning, and I did my best at the time. Right. So have patience with myself. But then the most important part of that is to have patience with others at all times. And that's a very difficult way to live. It's very challenging, especially that at all times. I was just at the post office this morning. I was there like almost at the moment that they opened. I have a lot going on today. And even then, there was a gal in front of me a couple steps, and she was really upset at the gal behind the counter, and the gal behind the counter was very upset at her. And it's difficult, right, to always be patient. So it's easier said than done, but that is what I would give advice for, and that's what I try to focus on as well.
That's a great advice. How can we support you?
Well, as I said, we have two more book releases at the end of this year. So if you connect with us, you'll see one is this amazing devotional journal, and the other is this field guide for people that are building their business. So those two books will come out this year, and then we already have 5 clients that have signed with us that will be releasing their books next quarter. And as I said, I have a finite number of clients we will take on for 2025. If you're interested in publishing a book, we publish the book from the ground up. We help you, and we'd like to work for you if you have a story that has impact that you want to share with the world.
What would you say about your guest appearance on the show?
Well, I would say thank you, Muhammad. Awais, I appreciate it, and I think podcasts are wonderful. So, and you are wonderful to do this, and I really love your title, connecting with intent. That whether we know it or not, we live our lives with intent. Even not having intent or direction or being indecisive, you're making a choice every morning. What you are or aren't doing, and what you are or not participating in. So I love this show very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate you for this. What closing thoughts would you like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, the main point is we are now almost starting the 2025 is don't put things off. Do not wait until tomorrow. Do not wait until next year. If you have a book in you, and if you've been wanting to write a book for years, and if you've had people tell you need to write a book, you need to do it. So, contact me. We'll be promoting this podcast, and Muhammad and his team will. And I'm happy to, give you advice, even if you don't work with us, just kind of steer you in the right direction. But don't put off what you should do today. There's zero perfect time. There's zero perfect time in the world to do things that you should do. So just make it happen. And thank you again, Muhammad.
Thank you so much, Liza, for sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of Connecting with the Intent community and our eternity. We really appreciate you. This is Muhammad Awais. Until the next episode, all good wishes.